Well, hello there, my friends on the interwebs. This is Doc Eon coming to you with another review. This one may be a little unusual because it's not about a game, it's about a book about a game. This is the book, The Making of Original Dungeons & Dragons, 1970 to 1977, from Wizards of the Coast. It's a big, thick book. It has 4 bookmark ribbons in different colors. It came out as part of the 50th anniversary thing. So last year, at the time of recording, this is a year old. I didn't get it and read it until now because I haven't had time, and also it's pretty expensive. So yeah, it's I don't have an exact price for it right now, but so. You'll have to make do. It's a lot of pages. It's like almost 575 pages of material. And, well, first off, what qualifies me to review this? Well, I am someone who has played, at least a little bit, every edition of Dungeons & Dragons except this one. OD&D, original D&D, that was never my thing. I got started with basic D&D, though I should also the second edition of basic D&D was what I started with, the Moldvay edition, and then I got into advanced D&D first edition, and since then I've played every published edition from TSR or Wizards of the Coast, so I know quite a bit about the game. And so that's why I got this book, because it was interesting to me, and I have read about the creation of D&D in several other books. I got my start, as most people probably did, with John Peterson's Playing at the World, which was sort of the first big, more or less professional attempt to write the history of that thing. Now, this book is quite different from Peterson's and from many others, as it doesn't actually... It's not a history so much of what happened around the game. It's a history of... It's a documentation of source materials. It contains, it doesn't go into much detail about the making as such, but then, like I said, there are other books for that, and documentaries, and a podcast, and so forth. So this is a history told through products. It serves up a lot of reproductions of, well, first of all, original Dungeons & Dragons. Here we can see some pages from the original Dungeons & Dragons box set, and the first 3 supplements. That is all except the 4th one. But you can get these things in other ways. You can get a PDF of all of the actual published works, and for a lot less than this would cost. And you can even get, let's see, supplement 4. They end here with a little brief paragraph about why Gods, Demigods, and Heroes isn't included. But as I said, you can get this in other places. The stuff you can't get in other places is what I originally showed you here. Well, the precursors, so of course, Chainmail you can get. The very first draft, the 1973 typewritten draft by Gary Gygax that became original D&D. To my knowledge, this has not been published anyplace else before. So that is, to the budding historian, a great boon that they have this stuff in here. Also, there are a lot of pages reproduced from Strategic Review, which is the original magazine published by TSR before The Dragon. And there are also some personal letters like this. There are also various fanzines and APAs, Amateur Press Associations. Here we have some handwritten notes. And we have a page from the Strategic Review. And like I said, there's other fanzine and Amateur Press Association articles, partially or wholly reproduced here. So it's a history by way of documentation. It's a one-stop shop for almost all the material you would need to study the evolution of early D&D from the first draft through its first supplements. And, you know, that is, if you're interested in this sort of thing, this will be worth it to you. If you're not, it won't. It's a recommend. If what I've described sounds impossibly tempting, like I really need to read that first draft, well, and you have the disposable income, you should really get this book. Otherwise, if that sounds boring to you, like why would anyone care? I just want the latest stuff. Then you should not get this book. It's as simple as that. And that's basically my review. This is a very specialized product, and you should, from my description, know if you're in the market for it or not. Yeah. Now, there is one other thing, one subject to broach about this book. It's probably already forgotten now, but when this was originally published, there was a brief debacle, discussion. I'd call it a tempest in the teapot. There were some people who tried to stir up shit about this. It died out pretty quickly, and it will not be remembered by history. But there were a few edgelords on the internet who took offense at some phrases in the preface, in the introduction to this book, where they point out, like it says here, some language in the first iteration of D&D presents a moral quandary. And they go on to point out the extremely obvious and well-known facts that in early D&D and in many early role-playing games, there were things that were of a sexist or racist nature. That's just a matter of the historical record. It's just a fact. Saying that shouldn't upset anybody. I don't understand why that. I do understand why. Some people wanted to drum up the controversy for their own political purposes. And they were trying to claim that the warning labels provided here are some sort of insult to Gary Gygax and the other early creators of D&D. That's preposterous. It's just silly. I don't think any more needs to be said about that. The thing I do want to comment on is the exclusion of the fourth supplement. And they motivate this by saying that it consists of cultural appropriation. It calls it staggering cultural appropriation because it has game stats for sacred figures, like for example, Vishnu, one of the principal deities of Hinduism, and you could fight him and other deities in that book. And they called this on this page, they call it cultural insensitivity. I look, this is nonsense. Because look, even if I now I don't subscribe to any religion myself, but if I did, if somebody had, say, if I was a Christian and some people put stats for the Christian God in the game and you could go beat him up, I would not care. That's caring about that sort of stuff. I mean, there are lots of video games where you can beat up God, multiple gods. Why doesn't anybody get us up? Well, I shouldn't use the that argument, but and you know, I've been to India several times. I don't believe, especially many Indian people, will get upset about the idea of fighting their gods. Their sacred texts, in their sacred texts, their gods are like all polytheistic gods. They get up to a lot of dumb, human-seeming stuff all the time, including fighting both each other and other people, and they sometimes get defeated. This is not weird in any way. Yeah, so I'm not really sure where this comes from. Rather, I do think I know where this comes from. They note here, in addition to the culturally insensitive content, it also includes characters from Robert E. Howard's Conan novels and Michael Moorcock's stories of Melniboné. Now, and maybe even, I'm not sure if they contain Fritz Leiber's Nuon deities, or if those only were in the AD&D book, Deities and Demigods. I should look that up, but no, we're not editing this. We're not going back and re-recording. Haha. Anyway, I think the real reason they didn't have this here is that it's copyrighted material, that they don't want to get in trouble. On the other hand, you can buy PDF of this supplement, so I'm not sure what's going on. Again, simply because you can still get this, why would they sell a PDF of the supplement but not include it here? Quick note, because I was sort of thinking out loud as I was recording, I actually went and checked the PDF version you can buy, and also print-on-demand version you can buy, of Gods, Demigods, and Heroes on the DM's Guild or DriveThruRPG right now, has in fact had the deities from the Conan and Elric books edited out. They are not included anymore. So, this strengthens my supposition that that is also the reason the original version is not reproduced in this book. And so, anyway, as I said 5 minutes ago, you know if you want this. If you do, try to find it. It's probably out of print by now, so it might be difficult to get. But that is my review. So, thank you for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you thought it was informative. And I will see you later.